Empoleon is the final evolution of the Piplup line, an evolution synonymous with being one of the final starter Pokemon for the Sinnoh region alongside Torterra and Infernape. For a long time, this Pokemon has struggled to make a consistent name for itself for a couple of reasons. For starters, no pun intended, obviously, unlike other utility and defensive walls, Empoleon had no way to recover HP, not including leftovers. As a utility Pokemon, it is key to recover HP to help utilize its longevity on the battlefield, especially since it was supposed to be serving as a bulky, annoying Pokemon. Take for example a Pokemon like Garganacl. Garganacl is of a similar utility and defensive role just like Empoleon is supposed to serve as it implies it wants to be. But the reason why Garganacl has been annoying for so long is because of its ability to increase longevity on the battlefield. By putting in combination Roost alongside Terastallization, Garganacl now offers ways to help increase its battlefield morality and make it an extremely viable threat defensively. If Garganacl didn't have Recover, it would be hard to justify to use this Pokemon as highly as it is because Mono Rock isn't the greatest defensive typing in the world to keep taking repeated hits. Something, for example, Great Tusk could switch in and keep chipping away with EQ before it ultimately goes down to hazards or other moves eventually that will wear it down. In those types of circumstances, it almost feels like your team revolved and helped keeping those Pokemon alive instead of those utility defensive Pokemon like Garganacl that are supposed to be trying to protect your team instead. And that should not be the case. Now obviously, I'm not saying this is the end all be all for all these types of Pokemon, but it certainly helps push them over at the edge for an argument for usage. Now, relating back to Empoleon, while Water and Steel is a viable type combo, it isn't hard to necessarily chip away with hazards and other moves to take it down eventually. As a Water and Steel type wall, there are other Pokemon like Toxapex who have viable recovery and better support moves on top of that to use it over Empoleon and clear-cut utility defensive wall. In short, Empoleon was only good as its health allowed it to be with no reliable way to extend its usability for a team, which is one of the big reasons for its OU absence. Generation 9 buffed Empoleon, however, in many ways to have questions surrounding it can be the top tier of competitive play. One of the ways I was complaining prior was buffing its HP on the field with the move Roost. Now, I'm well aware about the stigma around this move and how they nerfed the PP on it. However, Empoleon has never had any form of reliable recovery in the past anyways to make it talked about, so Roost is still pretty good. Roost especially puts in a really good place of viable now because as a slow Water and Steel type with good reliable recovery, it can annoy Pokemon with the other following utility toys it has with Yawn and Knockoff. Empoleon also gained a pretty huge move in Flip Turn, in essence a water type U-turn. Flip Turn is really great because Flip Turn is a move that allows you to keep offensive momentum without sacrificing extra damage for that switched in Pokemon. It's a reason why U-turn is so incredibly good as a pivot move because it allows you to keep that stable offensive momentum going throughout the match and get chip damage slowly on opposing Pokemon, which could come in handy in the long run. With the moveset of Yawn, Knockoff, Flip Turn, and Roost, this is honestly not that bad for Empoleon. It does suck though it does not have something like Skull like in the past generations to buff its viability, but nevertheless, that Roost buff is very critical for it coming back in the discussion. But what about the other aspects of Empoleon? Can they hold up in Generation 9 OU as well? Well, let's take a look at its stats. Its defensive and offensive splits are honestly pretty clean, and while 111 special attack isn't anything special, it's more than common water walls like Toxapex, Alomomola, etc. However, for that trade-off, Empoleon for its typing and compared to other walls doesn't have the stats to back it up. If you look at Toxapex, Dondozo, Alomomola, etc., they have at least something good defensively in its stats to hold it up. Dondozo on the physical side, Toxapex in both defenses, and Alomomola in its HP. Empoleon is mid in all three categories, and for the amount of resistances it has, it low-key defeats the purpose of its typing. Now, this is in comparison to them. Of course, still its splits are naturally decent, but I think the best comparison for this Pokemon splits are to a Pokemon like Ogerpon. Of course, both Pokemon are great, like the stats defensively aren't horrible, but we don't regard even as Ogerpon as the best defensive Pokemon. No, it just holds up pretty well as an offensive-oriented Pokemon that's supposed to be. And Empoleon stats are trying to tell a similar story, but unlike Ogerpon, it doesn't have the offensive power. Like 111 is great, but isn't WoW amazing in Generation 9, and 60 base speed is surefire lacking for it to be threatening offensively. Now, Empoleon has ways to raise its speed and agility, and I've seen people theorize agility sets with this Pokemon that could be viable again. It does require for setup for Empoleon, and in my opinion, it can work occasionally because of its incredible typing. However, as I said, its stats could hold it back if it's not careful. Before I keep talking about Empoleon's viability in Generation 9, if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more competitive content just like this. It's free and helps let me know you guys want more competitive Pokemon content. Many of you guys watching aren't subbed, so if you enjoy, it would really go a long way. And I just want to say thank you for the recent amazing support. I've been flabbergasted and we're already so close to 10k. I still can't believe that, so again, thank you for all you guys. Anyways, let's keep talking about our favorite penguin. Empoleon can also make make use of its new hidden ability of competitive, which prior it had defined, which raises attack instead of special attack when its stats got lowered. This is so good for a Pokemon that could use offensive boost to its 111 special attacking stat. If or whenever Goldango gets banned, this will be the next best thing to counter the fog, as it will be used as a bait to raise its special attack over and over again, especially since Empoleon has the move Stealth Rock, which it could use to bait the fog users on the following turn to get its competitive ability going. Anyways, we got the entire picture of Empoleon and its buffs, so what does it really offer uniquely to the Generation 9 OU competitive play? Can it be really good? Well, for starters, new buffs in the form of Roost, Flip Turn, and its new hidden ability of competitive have definitely improved its viability by a long shot. Empoleon will definitely love to be on bulky offensive teams where it can methodically bring in or out Pokemon while threatening opponents with Yawn, Knockoff, or other offensive moves like Ice Beam or Surf. Empoleon could on those teams as well be a good Assault Vest or Choice Specs user where it aims to be a bulky 252 HP and 252 special attacking Pokemon, as it can flip turn in or out of sticky situations if need be. While offensively it does have the tools to deal a number if the opponent is not careful with its competitive ability, defensively speaking its typing offers so much in the OU tier. It's able to stall out Pokemon like Dragapult, Walk and Wake, Enamorus to a degree, Goldango, etc. It matches up well with over 13 plus Pokemon currently in the metagame. Granted, that's also including the new mons that are in OU still, so that number can very well drop. But its notable checks does make it very desirable. Its defensive sets though are Roost, Yawn, Knockoff could be countered super easily though by Wellspring Ogerpon, who could switch in, be immune to Flip Turn and Knockoff secondary effect, and hit it back with the Horn Leech or superpower. Furthermore, it being a slow water and steel type makes it very prone to common ground types, especially with its weakened physical defense to Pokemon like Great Tusk, Landorus, Tinglu, and the ever more popular Gliscor right now. Which then begs the question, if you want a bulky water type on your team, why use it over Alomomola or Toxapex? They are much bulkier and offer more dynamic utility options. And although they don't have as many resistances, they also don't have as many common weaknesses to fighting in ground. 84, 88, and 101 splits on the defensive end in this modern day Pokemon isn't valued as much as it was back in Generation 4 because of simply put of power creep, which I mean really sucks because man, power creep really took out a lot of Pokemon over the years. But anyways, I digress. That's a topic for another day. Overall, is Empoleon not good enough for OU? No, but it isn't a mainstay staple like I think many people were really hoping for it when it was first released and with its buffs. While it offers many key Pokemon resists, it also struggles with a lot of common Pokemon in the tier, not to mention its mediocre defensive stats at best. I think it can be either a fringe OU or probably UU at best, to be honest. There are better water types in the tier that offers more versatility than it can be both in defensively speaking in Alomomola and Toxapex and offensively in Pokemon like Walking Wake and Manaphy. But what do you guys think? Am I right? Or is Empoleon actually better suited to be a mainstay threat in the Generation 9 OU tier? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you to my members for their continued support here on YouTube membership and Patreon. If you guys wish to support me even further, the links are down below. Again, it's not a necessary requirement, but it does go a long way for me and the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, be sure to join the Chompy Discord, link is in the description down below. It's an awesome community filled with a lot of amazing members that love to talk about competitive Pokemon in general, and Pokemon memes, or whatever you can find. It's really awesome, and we all really get along. It's very positive, and it's just overall good vibes there. So if you guys want to join another Discord server or looking for another Discord server just, to hang out, join the Chompy Discord. You guys will definitely not regret it. Other than that though, that's about it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and thanks for watching as always.